I've heard of serial killers who left behind trails of horror, but none quite like this. Imagine walking by a quiet riverbank and stumbling upon a human torso. No head, no limbs, just flesh, bone, and the lingering scent of death. That's exactly how the nightmare began in Cleveland, Ohio back in the 1930s. A faceless killer who dismembered his victims with surgical precision and vanished without a trace. They called him the Cleveland Torso Murderer, or the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. Between 1935 and 1938, at least 12 mutilated bodies, maybe more, were discovered in the area. Most of the victims were never even identified. Their bodies were chopped, drained of blood, and left like grotesque puzzles, daring the police to figure out who they once were. The first victim appeared in September 1935. I still picture it vividly. 2 mutilated bodies discovered near the shores of Lake Erie. A young man's decapitated remains, skin oddly treated with some kind of chemical. Nearby, a woman, just a headless corpse, left to rot. Locals whispered that a madman was roaming free, but no one expected what was coming next. The media soon gave the killer a name, the Torso Murderer, and the city was gripped by fear. What made this case even more terrifying was how carefully the killer worked. Every cut seemed precise, every body drained of blood. Some believed it had to be a butcher, or maybe even a surgeon. Others thought this was something far darker, almost ritualistic. By early 1936, the killer struck again. 2 more victims appeared. This time, their torsos were found in the snow-covered Kingsbury Run, a poor neighborhood filled with homeless camps. The killer wasn't just hunting at random. He was targeting the forgotten, the unseen, the ones no one would notice missing. That's what made the investigation almost impossible. Most of the victims were transients, drifters, prostitutes, alcoholics, people living on society's edges. Many had no family, no records, no names. Even when the police had bodies, they had no idea who these people were. The killer knew exactly what he was doing, killing those the world had already abandoned. Cleveland's mayor, Harold Burton, was desperate for answers. So he called in the city's most famous crime fighter, Eliot Ness. Yes, the same Eliot Ness who once took down Al Capone in Chicago. Ness was given full control, resources, and orders to stop the killer at any cost. But even he couldn't have imagined the darkness waiting for him. Ness quickly learned the killer wasn't just bold. He was taunting them. Victim after victim appeared, some just days apart. Heads were missing, sometimes found miles away. Other times, never recovered at all. And then came the most chilling discovery. The killer was dumping bodies right near the police station, almost as if mocking their every move. In 1937, things escalated. 2 more bodies surfaced, this time near a bridge within sight of City Hall. The message was clear: you can't stop me. By now, the city was in full panic. People locked their doors. Men refused to walk alone at night. The press dubbed it the Terror of Kingsbury Run. And the name stuck. Eliot Ness, desperate to regain control, did the unthinkable. One night, he ordered a raid on the hobo camps of Kingsbury Run. Police torched the shantytowns, forcing hundreds of people out of their makeshift homes. Ness hoped it would flush the killer out. But instead, it only deepened the mystery. The murders stopped for a while, but the killer was still out there, watching. Weeks passed. Then, months. For a brief moment, Cleveland breathed easier. But deep down, everyone knew it wasn't over. And they were right. In 1938, the killer returned. This time, leaving 2 more bodies right in plain sight near Lake Erie. It was like he wanted to remind the city that he was still there, still watching, still choosing when to strike. By now, the case files were thick with gruesome photos and dead ends. Police had no fingerprints, no clear motives. Just dismembered bodies and the growing suspicion that this killer was smarter than anyone they'd ever faced. Every path led to another dead end. Every suspect was cleared, except one. Among the names whispered in dark corners was a man known only as Dr. Francis Sweeney, a troubled physician with surgical knowledge and a taste for alcohol. Sweeney was a cousin of a powerful congressman, and rumors swirled that he had been quietly questioned, even polygraphed, and failed. But politics protected him. There was no arrest, no trial, only silence. Eliot Ness, for all his brilliance, found himself trapped. He couldn't touch Sweeney without risking his career and the city's fragile peace. Frustrated, Ness resorted to shadowing him. And soon, postcards started arriving. Anonymous, taunting, signed from a friend. Ness always believed they came from Sweeney, but he could never prove it. What haunts me most is this: the murders just stopped. No final clue, no dramatic capture. They just ended. Some say it was Ness burning the shantytowns that scared the killer off. Others believe Sweeney was quietly locked away in a mental institution, where he later died. But officially, the case remains open, unsolved. Over the years, the story of the Cleveland torso murderer faded, buried under bigger headlines and new fears. But every so often, someone digs up the old case files and wonders, how did a killer this bold, this brutal, this smart, simply vanish? Could he have moved on, starting his killing spree elsewhere? Or was he watching the city collapse and laughing from a distance? Eliot Ness never escaped the shadow of this case. Despite all his successes, the torso murders remained his greatest failure. He died haunted by the thought that the killer was someone he knew, someone he couldn't stop. A ghost that slipped through his fingers, leaving nothing but blood and fear behind. What terrifies me most is the way the killer chose his victims. People society forgot. The homeless, the addicted, the lost. No one came looking for them. No one cared when they vanished. It makes you wonder, how many times have monsters like this hunted in the shadows, knowing no one would ever notice? Today, if you walk through Kingsbury Run, there are no signs of the horror that once plagued this place. Just old train tracks, quiet streets, and the weight of a secret buried beneath the city. But the truth is, the Cleveland torso murderer was never caught. And somewhere out there, his story remains unfinished. If stories like this fascinate you as much as they haunt me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There are countless mysteries like this, unsolved, buried, and waiting to be told. And trust me, the next one might just be darker than anything you've heard before.